I'm OG Veteran, and I'll be your guide to a different side of American pride.
So I'm back. Aren't you tired of it? Man, I know I am. I'm tired. I'm tired of the extremists dividing us. And I'm tired of us biting off on this idea that the extremists are right. They're not about everything. Yeah, they're right about some things. But what is the extreme that's really dividing us? We want to think about the left, the right, liberal, conservative, fascist, communist, capitalist, socialist. We have all these things, but what's really dividing us is the spectrum of narcissism all the way to hyper-empathetic. Those are the extremes that are really dividing us, because those are the extremes that yell the loudest. Those are the extremes that want, they on the extreme hyper-empathetic. My God, I want to feel, I need to feel pain. I feel their pain. I feel the pain of everything and everybody on the earth. I feel the pain of all people. I feel the pain of all animals. I feel the pain of all plants. I feel, and I'm glad we have empathy in the world. This world without empathy would be crazy. It would be crazy. It would be some Mad Max shit going on if we didn't have empathy. We need empathy in order to have a society. Then we have that other extreme, the narcissistic extreme, the extreme that says, what I want is all that matters. If I want it, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care who I kill. If I want it, that's all that matters. And this narcissism borderlines really and goes into sociopathology, okay? This is the challenge that we're facing, is that we got these extremes going on in the United States. And these extremes tend to attach themselves with sometimes with a political movement, with a social movement. You know, we got the social justice warriors, we got the heavy patriots. Listen, a lot of times this even goes into our political system, and not a lot of times, it's there, it's heavy there. We have the extreme hyper-empathetic that attach to the Democratic Party, because they call it the liberal, the progressive, the left. And then we have the extreme narcissist, the extreme narcissist that attach to the Republican Party, because they call it conservative. They call it the right. And they are separating us people, because the reality is most of us are not extreme. This society could not exist if everybody was that polarized and that extreme. But the reality is that most of us are not that extreme. Most of us fall somewhere within the middle, within the spectrum, as they call it. Yeah, we have our leanings. We're going to lean a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, but that's a leaning. Most of us fall somewhere closer to the middle. But we allow those people on the extreme to convince us that if I even give a little bit of empathy to the people that are on the quote-unquote left or the Democrats, then I'm a traitor. I'm a traitor to my party. I'm a traitor to my race. I'm a traitor to everything. And it goes the other way. If a black man says, yeah, I'm a Republican. You're a Republican? Oh, man, yeah, you, Uncle Tom. And it's like it goes the other way. We can't continue to find ourselves going forward in this society that we call America. This experiment, excuse me, this experiment that we call America, we can't continue to move forward if we allow the extremes to divide us. Narcissism, hyper-empathy. We allow this to influence our voting, and then to turn our backs on people who didn't vote the same as we did. We allow this extreme to happen. I am glad that we're an empathetic country, because when you are the most powerful country in the world, empathy is necessary. It keeps us from being a bully. You see, strength without compassion, strength without some form of empathy, you're going to be a bully. That is the pure and simple truth of it. Strength without compassion makes you a bully. But compassion, empathy without strength to do something about it, all that makes you is socially, psychologically impotent. It makes you incapable of doing something about that which you are so passionate about and so compassionate about. We need to have both if we're going to remain this country. We need to be peaceful warriors, because we are warriors. Don't get it twisted. Americans are the greatest warriors out there. It's pretty obvious. Look what we've done in 200 years. And I'm not going to sit here and act like we did it strictly out of our ability to strike a deal. The reality is that a lot of countries are afraid of us. And that's what happens when you're the most powerful country in the world. It is a responsibility. But that strength, if that strength is paired with a narcissistic ego, we will become bullies. We could end up destroying this whole world if we don't temper our military strength, our economic strength. If we don't temper our strength with compassion, with empathy, then yeah, we can end up destroying this world. At the same time, if we allow ourselves to be led by feelings only, empathy only, then we will fall. I am willing to fight for anybody in this country and for their rights. Now, a lot of times we tend to mix our feelings up with our rights, our human rights. The Constitution is not here to guarantee our rights. Okay, the Constitution was created to guarantee that the government won't infringe upon our constitutional rights, because we've been living like this so long, we forget that governments do it all the time. They do it all the time. It's happened here. But holding steadfast to the Constitution has us that we still enjoy more freedoms than a lot of countries around the world. No, don't get me wrong. We're not the only country that has freedom. We're not the only country that has a constitution. God knows we're not the only one. Otherwise, we'd be fighting everybody. But a lot of the countries that have a secured freedom have it because, well, they're our friends. They're our allies. And they know that we got their back. And that is part of being the most powerful country in the world. Yes, we've been accused of being the policemen of the world. Well, you know what? Somebody's going to do it. And the question is, do you want the policemen of the world to be free thinkers? Okay, free thinking, which is part of capitalism. Do you want this part of the democratic republic that we're part of? Do you want the most powerful country in the world to think in terms of government and freedom the way we do? Or do you want them to think in the form of government that says, if you criticize the government, if you criticize the president, you could end up dead quickly, your whole family, because that's the way it works in a lot of parts of the world. So we need to have empathy. So I will fight. If you're trans, I'll fight for you. If you're gay, I'll fight. If you are any quote unquote ethnic minority, subculture, special interest groups, whatever you want to call them, I'll fight for your rights. I will. I'm a veteran. This isn't just talk to me. I'm willing to put it on the line. I will fight for any of your rights. but I'm not going to fight for your feelings. Please quit expecting people to fight for your feelings. We all have feelings, and sooner or later, our feelings are going to be slighted also. And I'm not going to ask you to fight for my feelings. So stop asking us to fight for yours. We love you, America. That's why we put these uniforms on. That's why we get out here and represent and do what we do, because we love you, America. And when I put this uniform on, I didn't say I was willing to fight for white America, black America, straight America, men, women. I said I am going to fight for and be willing to fight for all Americans, for your rights. Okay? You have the right to dress however you want to dress. You have the right to speak however you want to speak. You have these rights. You have the rights to oppose the government in your beliefs and not and expect that somebody like me is not going to come and try to cart you away to jail because you are voicing your beliefs about this country. I will fight. I will stand there next to you, arm in arm, for your right to voice your concerns and your discontentment with this country. Because that's what we were born of. We were born of people that were willing to express their discontentment with this country. But your feelings, they count to you. They count to others that care about you and care about your feelings. And believe me, I feel your pain. I cannot imagine what it would be like to grow up thinking that, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't have this body. I shouldn't be chastised for having this orientation. I shouldn't be chastised for having this orientation. I shouldn't be chastised because I feel like I'm a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body. I shouldn't be chastised because I feel like I'm a cat in a human body. I shouldn't be chastised for anything just because I think this way and I feel this way. And I'm not going to. And I'm willing to fight anybody who's going to hurt you and violate your human rights just because you have those feelings. Because nobody has the right to violate your rights because of how you feel. I'm a black man in America. You don't think I felt out of place? You don't think I felt out of step? There are most of the times in my life that I have been the only black person in a social situation. I have been the only black person in many situations. So, of course, I know what it feels like. If you're black in this country, it's just part of it. So I am not going to dog you for how you feel inside. But please don't ask me to fight for your feelings. When there is a fight for your rights, it looks something like this. Somebody is beat and imprisoned by the government. Now, the challenge is that we think of the government oftentimes only on a federal level. We think of it oftentimes on a federal level. But if a small town sheriff beats you up because of how you're dressed, you may be what they see as a man in a dress, for example, and some small town sheriff, just itty bitty town about the size of this table in front of me. If somebody who's representing that government, that small government, violates your rights, then that's when the federal government is supposed to step in. Because they are supposed to guarantee that no government official nobody representing the government, be it on the smallest of levels, a small town sheriff or a small town politician, all the way up to senators, even the president. Nobody in the government is allowed to violate your human rights. And then we have laws that are written to help support this idea of we're going to stop the violation of human rights. Once again, we're talking about extremes here. I want you to feel comfortable always being who you are, America. And we are not just one people. Gone are the days that we are going to define Americans as strictly white males in a pickup truck waving a flag. Yes, if you fit that description, you are an American, and I'll fight for you and alongside you. But you're not the only Americans. We come in all colors. We come in all genders, or both genders, whichever you want to call it. We come in everything from mentally ill to incredibly stable. We're humans. We're human beings first and foremost. And therefore, because of the fact that we're humans, we already fall on every one of these spectrums that are out here. We are humans, first and foremost. We are Americans. Okay, most of us are Americans here by birth. Some of us are Americans because of choice. Some of us are Americans because out of all the places in the world, this is where you want to live. And I'm proud. I am proud that we are the country that you say that you want to live in. I will be less proud when it starts becoming a situation that somebody says, I don't want to go to America. I want to go someplace else, because we need people. Let's face it, America, our multi-generational Americans, a lot of them don't have the work ethic that we would like to see. Us old G's, us older people, our hardworking people, a lot of young people don't have it. And I don't know if it's Gen this, Gen that, Gen this, Gen that, Z, X, Y, P, I don't care. All these initials, here's the whole thing. Let's get it together. Let's start understanding that we can love without liking. We can love America, and we can love other Americans and not agree with them. We don't have to agree. That is not what America is about. It has never been born out of total agreement. There are people, even when the Declaration of Independence was being signed, there were people that was going, are you sure this is a good idea? King George ain't gonna like this. There was always people that were in opposition of the way that the government is going. So yeah, there are people in opposition right now of the way that the government is going. And you have that right. And I want you to always voice your concerns with what the government is doing. If the government is not doing the things that you think it should be doing, I want you, America, to voice your concerns. I want you to get out there in mass and voice your concerns. But don't violate people's rights. Don't riot, kill, steal, destroy. Don't do it. It's not what is guaranteed. The Constitution doesn't guarantee the protection of your destruction of property. I am not the first man to put on a uniform, and I'm not going to act like it. And it follows in my family for generations, and it follows in this country. And you know, there is not one ethnic group, religious group. There is not one gender type of group. There is not one of any group that has not put on a uniform and fought and died for this country. You have already earned it. You don't have to keep fighting for something that somebody else already fought and died for you. Read an article the other day about a woman who fought for this country as a man. And it was only after being injured that the doctor found out it was a woman. How much more trans do you get? That person already fought, and they fought so that this country can exist to keep moving forward. No, we're not perfect. Lose this idea of this utopian society of perfection. We are not perfect. We will never be perfect. The human being is not a perfect being. So lose this idea that it's never going to be a good place until we're perfect. No family is perfect. But you don't turn your back on your family. We are America. You're America. And you're America. And you're America. And together is what makes us America. We're not one person. We're not one thought process. We're not one direction and one direction only. But if you're not willing to stand up for this country, then you're part of the problem. Yes, there are people saying, how can I as a black man? There are black people out there that will say, how can I as a black man defend this slave-owning country? Well, it's not slave-owning anymore. And it's not legal. So anybody who's taking slaves are doing it illegally. And so if that's the case, I hope your ass goes to jail and rots. And guess what? Most people that are taken as slaves in this country, they're not black men. No. Most people taken as slaves in this country are women and children. Yeah, slavery still goes on. It is a part of the human condition. Man will always try to exploit. And that's why we need people with empathy and compassion to say, hey, it's wrong. Yes, I feel for somebody who's been taken and sold into slavery. Yes, I empathize and I am willing to fight. But if you only empathize about things, but you're not willing to do anything about it, then you're part of the problem. And if you're the strongest motherfucker out there on the block, if you're Goliath, okay? If you're Achilles, if you're just the unbeatable warrior out there on the block, and you're not willing to use that strength to help others because you don't care about anybody else, you don't have empathy, and you just go around destroying what's around you, then you're a bully. You're a predator. And as far as I'm concerned, you need to sit in jail and rot also. And a lot of you, I think you just need to be taken. Yeah. Oh, do I believe in the death penalty? I do. But I also believe in the justice system needs to keep getting better and better and better to try to avoid people being wrongly accused and convicted of crimes and then ultimately ending up in the death chamber. So yes, it is not an easy solution to what's going on in this world. But empathy and strength, empathy, compassion, coupled with strength is how we move forward. Peaceful warriors, okay? They say that the eagle needs both the left wing and the right wing to fly. Okay? We need them both. I love you, America. Keep coming back.